Happy holidays, everyone, from Truth Amongst Us. All right, well, I'm going to make this quick because I'm still battling YouTube regarding the restrictions on my account. But here we are. We are going to watch a short clip from the citizens' hearing on UFO disclosure, May 1st, 2013, with Linda Moulton Howe. She is going to discuss how the government has intimidated her and other UFO researchers throughout the course of their careers. Let's listen in.
And I can tell you for a fact, following up on what Don was just saying, that kind of intimidation was going on as late as 1974 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I have personally talked with a man who was involved in a sighting of craft, both triangular and spherical, in the Manzano Range in 1974, and it's a very long story, but the short is that he and colleagues were swept up by a security force and taken to Kirtland Air Force Base in an office because the only thing that they've ever known is that they saw a craft that had landed in the Manzano Range, triangular in shape, that had hieroglyphs on the top that they could see through binoculars. And that seemed to be of great concern to our government through security forces at Kirtland Air Force Base. And they held 3 of these people for 48 hours. And in the end, they told them with great threats that if they ever spoke, that they would be watched and monitored, and if they ever spoke about anything that happened when they were held at Kirtland, that they would end up in jail and they would have no possibility of a normal life. And that's 1974. A long time after 47 that our government has been playing hardball. And tonight, I thought that what I would do is share with you a presentation that I first did in 2008 because it includes videotape that I made with a man who had served in the Navy and, as far as I know, had firsthand his hands on photographs from Roswell, 1947, of the bodies in a hangar, and he sketched for me, as you will see in this presentation. And then the consequences to his own life for having seen these photographs in an unusual military context, and how it followed him through the rest of his career until he got out of the Navy. And the last conversation he had was with a 4-star in Washington, D.C., in Space Command, who had a dialogue with him, I think, with an astonishing conclusion. So Jennifer, if you are ready, we will try this. Normally I have my fingers on my computer, and we're going to try this tonight with her and hopefully me giving you the right signals. Our government does not want public disclosure. That's the premise upon which all of us have to face and what we are standing on as we gather for this citizen hearing in 2013. It's been more than half a century of monitoring and interactions with non-humans by this government that does not want a single soul outside of inner sanctums to know. There is a formal policy of denial executed by President Harry S. Truman after July 1947 in the UFO crashes around Roswell. I have talked with a man who was working in the naval lab in White Sands, and he said it is his understanding that it was an executive order by Harry S. Truman. It is not privy to the American public, and yet it is an executive order that carries through all of this time since 1947 with such force that agency after agency, in the inertia of batons being passed, has kept and strengthened and deepened this policy of denial to the point that I frankly am of the opinion that it is the suppression of the extraterrestrial interaction with this planet that is turning the United States into a complete totalitarian police state. In the early 1990s, a Las Cruces, New Mexico resident named Andrew Kistner met me to talk about leaked documents and information from 2 military sources at the White Sands Missile Range. Their information was about our government's military aggression in the 1940s to 1950s against an alien disk technology, the disk technology retaliation, and American government clampdown to keep the truth from the media and the public. By the late 1990s, Andy Kistner was elected state representative for New Mexico's Doña Ana County. During his 2 years in state government, Andy was frustrated by the secrecy and denials he encountered when he tried to find out more about the alleged 1947 UFO crashes in the Roswell region. Andy had tried to help Congressman Steve Schiff of New Mexico in that congressman's own effort to open up more facts about the Roswell events. But even Congressman Schiff was blocked. Andy Kistner told me his private White Sands sources not only categorized the disk technology as extraterrestrial, but the sources had an explanation for why there has been such a strict government policy of denial since the early 1940s, long before 1947.
And there you have it. Linda had quite a bit to say in that short segment that we just saw. But like she said, witnesses and even investigators who were involved in the Roswell crash were in fact intimidated by the U.S. government. And of course, she explains that there is proof that the U.S. government has and still is trying to cover up the UFO phenomenon. Anyway, stay tuned. More of these are coming very shortly.